Candlelight Tales. From Boston, the Colonial Radio Theatre on the air beckons you to listen in for another story of the ghosts, horror, and mysteries of New England. Sit back in the dark, light a candle, watch the unearthly shadows on the wall dance and flicker as they enact tonight's Candlelight Tale.
Good evening, this is Jerry Robbins. I think if there's anything in the world we landlubbers hardly give a thought to or know anything about, it's a lighthouse. Our knowledge of them stems from postcards, calendars, picture books, and some of us have given them a brief passing glance on a Sunday outing. Now, I don't mean to lump everybody into this category, but really, how many of us really think about lighthouses? I'm guilty, I must admit. However, on a recent trip to Bermuda, I was able to visit one, Gibbs's Lighthouse. Climbing the winding stairway to the top, a thought kept distracting me from the exhibits placed on each level. I wondered, what was it like to be in this towering coffin-like structure during a violent storm? To hear the waves pounding on the walls, to look out from the top and see large ships being tossed about like toy boats, and praying they don't crash onto the rocks and shoals. Reaching the top after a rather long ascent, I was amazed at the light itself, the polished brass and the view of the island. My acute fear of heights prevented me from strolling out along the catwalk, but I got the general idea as I stood catatonically near the stairway going down. Again, I thought of the terrifying sight of a storm at sea. Tonight's play, well, it explores the loneliness and mystery of a lighthouse. One in particular, not in Bermuda, but at the outer reaches of Boston Harbor, far beyond George's Island and its famed Lady in Black. Seeming to rise right out of the ocean, it rests on huge granite slabs which form a kind of submerged island. It is a beacon for approaching ships, and to this day, on stormy nights, passing vessels claim to see the ghostly figures of two men clinging to its base, the waves crashing around them as they warn the ships away. Their tomb is under the sea at the base of this tower called Minots Light. Far away from the shore of Boston, past 32 islands that lie in the harbor, ships making their way to port have met with terrible disasters. The shoals and hidden reefs are difficult to navigate on calm days and impossible on stormy ones. The ocean is a dark, foreboding place in the dead of night, and a wicked living hell when the nor'easter seems to rise from the ocean depths and from the black heavens. Captains of long-ago ships, tossing in this heaving, watery arena, would look out through the spraying water slapping on the decks of their ships, and strain to see what perhaps the lookouts might miss, a land mass of doom appearing before them, one of the islands. Many years came and went with the coast of Boston offering this final challenge to incoming seacraft. With numerous shipwrecks finding their final resting place under the surface of these waters, it was finally put to mind that a lighthouse would be constructed to warn ships of the islands on those dark, fearful evenings. On a freezing winter night in January in the year 1850, the new lighthouse, known as Minots Light, was illuminated for the first time. Suspended over the ocean by 4 steel legs, it was a home for 2 keepers. It was a welcome beacon for the vessels at sea.
My lord, it's freezing out here. Oh, Captain, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know it was you.
It's quite all right, Mr. Lawrence.
I didn't expect you'd be out here, sir, this time of night.
We should be getting close to the New England coast. The approach to Boston isn't an easy one. The way into the harbour is pocked with islands and shoals. I'll feel more at ease with my own conscience if I'm on the bridge for this part of the voyage.
Would you like some coffee, sir?
No, thank you.
It must be 20 below tonight.
Be thankful for calm seas, mister.
Aye, Captain. Calm seas. Still freezing. Look!
What?
Nothing. I thought I saw...
Ahoy aloft! What do you say?
A light! There's a light off to starboard!
I don't see any light.
I thought I just did, sir. Look! Look, there it is again.
Yes, I saw it. Let's see how good binoculars are in the dark. Yes.
What do you see?
Hard to make out, but there's a very dark mass and a tower. Looks like a tower. Well, I'll be. Looks like they've built a lighthouse to the harbor.
A lighthouse? Ha!
That's an ease off my mind. Now we know where the islands begin. Message to the helm, Mr. Lawrence. Steer to leeward.
Aye, sir.
How's she running?
Just fine, Mr. Wilson, just fine. She's working like a charm, sir.
Tomorrow morning you'll polish the lens and lamp. I'll do it the day after.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. It's 11 o'clock now. You'll come back up top here for the next watch at 3 a.m.
Sir,
What?
I don't have a timepiece.
You don't?
Sorry, sir.
All right. This stovepipe travels all the floors right down to the bottom. I'll give it a rap to let you know it's time to change the watch. You give it a rap back so I'll know you're awake and coming up. How's that?
That'll do it, sir. Great idea. Well, good night, sir.
Good night. As Joseph Antoine began climbing down to the lower floors where the sleeping quarters were, Joseph Wilson entered the watch room of the Light. The large lens and lamp looming over his desk, the icy January wind scouting the window, seeking a crevice in which to enter. Coffee's gone. What time is it? 5 to 3. Well, where'd the time go? Come on, Antoine. Time to wake up. Well, what do you know? And so passed the first evening at Minots Light. The next morning, the ship, which was out to sea, tied up at Long Wharf, and Joseph Antoine did his morning polishing chores. The months traveled by, and soon it had been 1 year since the Light first began to guide ships towards the harbor. Yes, Joseph?
Look here, sir.
What is it?
Here, by the stove. See? The plaster. The plaster is chipping away.
Yes. Huh. That shouldn't be. It's not like anything's hitting the wall.
Between this and the crack we saw yesterday by the doorway, I don't know. The building's only a year old.
Well, tomorrow morning, let's do an outside inspection, but for right now, it's getting dark out. I'll take the first watch.
Okay, sir.
Ship. Oh, it's cold. Long drop down. Well, you're far out to sea. I wonder, Do you see my light? What a lonely sound. Nothing so lonely as a ship's horn at sea. Rise and shine. The next morning, Joseph Wilson and Joseph Antoine inspected the outside of the lighthouse and found nothing. No evidence of trouble, Joseph. Not a thing. Looks fine.
But there's still a crack near the door, and the plaster's flaking on the second floor. I don't know.
Well, if things get worse, I'll go on shore and have the builders come out and take a look. For the next 2 months, nothing unusual happened at Minots Light. The daily and nightly routine of the two keepers was uneventful and at times tiresome. Polishing the lens and lamp, keeping the watch. On the afternoon of April 17th, 1851, Joseph Wilson noticed that the sky was growing dark and the ocean was choppy. Whitecaps were becoming harsh and swift. That night, the ocean mustered its hatred and attacked Minots Light and all the ships at sea which seeked out its beacon. It was a nor'easter. My God, I've never seen the wind so high. Joseph! Joseph! Joseph, bring me that bottle of whiskey for my quarters. It's going to be a rough night. Be right up.
Here you are, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Why the face, Antoine?
Well, sir, the rules about drinking on watch.
Rules don't apply on a night like this. This is a storm from hell, Mr. Antoine. Man needs all the strength he can get.
One of the windows broke.
Go down and get some wood. We have to board it up.
Yes, sir. What's that?
The house! It's giving way! Quick, get below!
No!
In only moments, the towering lighthouse fell apart, and the two men were hurled into the sea. The bricks, timber, and steel from Minots Light falling on top of them to seal their watery tomb. Joseph Antoine and Joseph Wilson were never seen again. Their bodies were never recovered. On a chilly day in November 1860, a new light was dedicated. This lighthouse was stronger and well protected against the elements, so the fate of the first light 9 years before would not be repeated. The new keepers arrived, and it was not long before the strange events began to occur. As they watched the boat which delivered them to Minots Light return to the mainland, they stood at the edge of the doorway and looked down the length of the ladder to the sea. The ladder which led to their small boat led into the ocean. It seemed as if it were a porthole into the murky leagues where their predecessors rested.
Way down, Cappy.
Yes, the sky looks threatening, Arthur. Do me a favor, climb up the ladder and make sure the boat's secured.
Okay. Look at it, Cappy. It's a beautiful building, isn't it?
Aye, she'll guide ships in safely.
The light will be seen. Cappy, look. Up at the top of the beacon.
What? What about it?
Never mind. No, never mind. I must be... I must be...
Arthur, what are you talking about? What about the beacon?
It's hard to tell from this angle, but I thought I saw someone looking down at us. I could have sworn I saw a face looking down from the top.
I don't see anything. We're the only two people here, Arthur.
It was there. I swear it.
Check on the boat, Arthur.
Cappy looked at the top of the light. He saw nothing. As Arthur made his way down the ladder to check on the mooring of their launch, Cappy entered the building. He walked to the base of the spiral staircase that wove and wound its way to the top of the tower.
Well, just us, Arthur. Just us. Don't tell me I'm stuck on this island with a superstitious keeper, seeing a face in every window. Well, I think this is a good-sized watchroom.
Quite a view from up here, Cappy. You can see Cohasset, Scituate, Boston. Quite a sight.
Yeah, those clouds are getting darker, too. Now, I'll take the first watch tonight. I'll ring you 10 minutes before your watch starts. Let's make sure the bells work. I think we'll hear them down below.
I would think so.
Well, there's still quite some time before we fire up the light. How about a game of cards?
Sure, sounds good.
The days passed by, uneventful. The face Arthur thought he had seen on that first day had been forgotten, and the daily chores of running Minots Light became dreary routine. Until one particular night, the night it all began. Distant thunder rolls were heard, although the sea was only slightly rolling, calm and all. The horns of ships far off to sea came across the water like a telegraph. And high up in the watchtower, underneath the huge lamp and lens which sent its light miles out over the ocean, Cappy sat at his desk, reading the Boston paper, even though it was 3 days old, and he had already digested its contents through and through.
Midnight. 12 o'clock. All's well. Well, that's it for your watch, Cappy. Time to give the young upstart his chance. Well, I'll have to remember to get some more tobacco when I go to mainland on Friday. Have to write a note. Have to get some pipe cleaners too. If I have to keep tapping my pipe on the stovepipe, I'll probably wear it right through the thing. And we'll all be asphyxiated up here. Oh, well. Huh? What's that? Arthur? Is that you? Well, let's see if you can answer that one. Arthur! Who's that? Arthur!
What are you screaming for? I heard the bell.
Bell? Bell? Didn't you hear the tapping?
Huh?
Listen! Listen!
listening for?
A reply. I tapped my pipe on the stovepipe, and someone answered from below.
Cappy, I was below. I didn't hear any tapping sounds.
Someone was answering me.
It wasn't me.
I also thought I heard someone talking. Someone... talk. Never mind. Never mind.
This building has a lot of creaks, you know. Maybe it was...
It wasn't a creak, Arthur.
Go get some rest, Cappy. My watch.
Wasn't a creak.
Several days passed with no more incidents. Then, on the midnight watch.
Oh, it's time for some more coffee.
The plaster is chipping away.
Huh? Arthur? Is that you?
No evidence of trouble, Joseph.
What?
Everything...
Who's there? I know someone is here.
The plaster is chipping.
Who's there?
I'm outside. On the cat.
Arthur? Is that you?
I'm outside.
Where are you?
On the catwalk. Help me.
That catwalk?
Help me.
Arthur?
Outside.
How did you get up here without my seeing you?
Come outside. On the catwalk.
What are you doing outside?
Cappy, what are you doing?
Oh, Arthur, how did you... You're outside.
Outside. I couldn't sleep. I heard you talking, so I came up here.
Well, you were just calling me from outside.
Cappy, I swear, I just came in the room.
Someone's out there, and they sound like you.
Let's take a look. Hello? Hello? I'll walk around.
I didn't imagine it. Someone was here.
If anyone was out here on the catwalk, they jumped.
Am I going crazy?
Later, as the sun began to sink beneath the waves on the horizon, Cappy and Arthur were on the lower level, preparing for the night watch.
You know, Cappy, I've been giving it some thought, and... Well, how about you taking some time ashore? A day or two. I can man the building by myself for a while.
Listen here. I don't need to get away. I heard someone talking the other night. I wasn't dreaming. And I wasn't overtired. And don't forget, the first day we were here, you thought you saw a man standing on top of the tower.
Well, I guess you're right. There has to be a reasonable explanation.
Not necessarily. Well, I best be getting to the top.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, Arthur.
Yes?
I want you to polish the brass and the lens up top.
All right.
The night passed quietly. Arthur had the last watch. And when 8 a.m. came, and he still had not come down for breakfast, Cappy walked up to the top to see him.
Sleep. Arthur! Wake up there, man.
Huh? Oh.
Wake up.
Oh, Cappy. Guess I must have fallen asleep. Sorry.
You can't fall asleep on watch, Arthur. Don't let it happen again.
I won't, I promise.
I can see why you dozed off. You must have started polishing that light as soon as you shut it off. I have never seen it looking so bright.
What?
It looks like you spent hours on it. And it's only 8 o'clock. How could you do all this in such a short time? The lens is still hot. How could you do all this?
I didn't.
What do you mean? You didn't.
I was going to polish it after breakfast.
More coffee?
Please. So, what's going on, Cappy?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Listen. There it is again. The rapid sound.
It's up top. It's coming from up top.
Come on. Wait.
We're only halfway there.
I know. But listen. It stopped.
You're right. Up here.
Did you hear that?
Do you see my light?
Hello!
It's so lonely.
There's voices up there. Someone's up there.
Come on.
Who's there?
Hello!
No one. Room is empty. Downstairs. Someone just closed the door.
Sure I can't talk you out of it?
I'm not staying here, Cappy. I'm sorry. I'm going back to the mainland. I'll see that they send someone out here to replace me in the morning.
It's getting dark. Why don't you wait until tomorrow?
No, I'm leaving tonight.
Cappy watched as Arthur climbed onto the ladder, then down to the waiting boat. As Arthur descended further down, he saw Minots Light towering over him. He saw the small boat getting closer. Then, as he was almost at the small craft, he saw something underneath the water, looming below the surface, staring up at him.
What? What? No! Ah! Ah! Oh! No! No! Help!
In a blind frenzy, he climbed the ladder to the top, missing the rungs and several times almost falling into the sea. Cappy heard his cries and met him at the top.
Arthur! Well, what's wrong? What is it?
Cappy, when I got to the boat, there was a man under the surface, looking up at me.
A man?
He was just staring at me, a calm expression on his face, his mouth open, as if he were trying to speak.
Come on, let's get you inside.
Keepers at Minots Light reported strange happenings for many years after the new light was opened that cold November day in 1860. Ships at sea told how, in furious storms, they saw two men in the roaring waves under the light, yelling for them to keep away. The ghosts of the two lost keepers? That's my guess. But there are those who think that being alone in a lighthouse will drive you crazy, to the point where the least little sound could be that of a ghost. Tell that to Cappy and Arthur. Those who believe will believe. I believe. As for the rest of you, you best stay away from Minots Light. I'd hate for you to find out how quickly your bold skepticism will desert you. For when you stare into the sea at its base, or up to the top of the now deserted tower, you may just see someone staring back at you.
Candlelight Tales. The Colonial Radio Theatre on the Air has
presented another tale of the ghosts, horror, and mysteries of New England. Heard in tonight's cast were Quent Risher, Bill Hammond, and Jeffrey Gage. Tonight's play was written and directed by Jerry Robbins. The music was by Jeffrey Gage. Until the next time we meet, this is Paul O'Shaughnessy saying good night from Boston.